Ahead on NewsWatch, President Trump makes good on some campaign promises, what he did that has the pro-life community celebrating. Plus, replacing Justice Antonin Scalia on the Supreme Court. Find out the top favorites Trump could nominate to fill that vacancy. And Boko Haram terrorists destroyed their homes and their churches. See how CBN is meeting the urgent needs of these homeless Nigeria refugees. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Survivors of the deadly storm that swept through the South are picking up the pieces after the destruction. Authorities say at least 20 people were killed in an outbreak of tornadoes and thunderstorms. Georgia alone accounted for 15 of those deaths. Charlene Aaron has the story.
Dude, I think that's a tornado.
Search and rescue operations are underway in Georgia and Mississippi after deadly storms tore through the region.
It looks like a nuclear bomb went off.
This mobile home park in Adel, Georgia was flattened to the ground. Residents say all this damage happened in a matter of minutes.
We covered each other and we just laid there and we prayed, Lord, please let it pass over, let it pass over.
States of emergency have been declared in Georgia and Mississippi.
We do have crews out there clearing the roadways, but the neighborhoods are damaged so severely that it's going to take a while.
Albany, Georgia was hit hard. CBN's Operation Blessing is on the ground there, offering people much needed help.
Behind me is the home of Miss Williams, where her and her 89-year-old mom was living when this tree slammed through the roof of her house. But this is not the first time this community has been hit hard. Just earlier this month, straight-line winds devastated another portion of this community, bringing extensive damage. So this is just a devastating and challenging time for this community. And so Operation Blessings working with local churches and local emergency management to assess the area and bring in volunteers and our equipment to help this community get back on their feet.
You just don't know where to go. And so if somebody's coming to help you, you accept all the help you can get. To know that there are people out there that care.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
A Christian university in Mississippi was also hit hard by those devastating tornadoes. William Carey University in Hattiesburg suffered extensive damage, but thankfully, no one was killed. A school spokesperson says nearly all of the 30 buildings on campus were damaged and about 100 vehicles were totaled. But the university president says something remarkable happened at the chapel.
We had extensive damage to our beautiful Bass Chapel on campus, but the Bible on the pulpit is left undisturbed, and it's open to Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength in times of trouble.
The Word of God stands. William Carey University is accepting cash donations to help students replace their books, computers, as well as their vehicles. President Donald Trump is moving forward with a robust first week, and he started by advancing pro-life policy. White House correspondent Jennifer Wishon explains.
On his first official workday, President Donald Trump reinstated the so-called Mexico City policy. It forbids non-government groups in other countries that receive money from Washington from performing or promoting abortions. What message is he sending here? Does he see the elimination, reduction of abortions as an American value? And also, here at home, can pro-life Americans expect him to put his signature on legislation that will defund Planned Parenthood?
Well, I think the president, it's no secret, has made it very clear that he's a pro-life president. He wants to stand up for all Americans, including the unborn. And I think the reinstatement of this policy is not just something that echoes that value, but respects taxpayer funding as well, and ensures that we're standing up not just for life for the unborn, but for also taxpayer funds that are being spent overseas to perform an action that is contrary to the values of this president, and I think continue to further illustrate, not just to the folks here in this country, but around the world, of what a value we place on life.
It's a first nod to evangelicals who overwhelmingly supported his candidacy. Press Secretary Sean Spicer's first press briefing signaled a new day in Washington. He called first on the New York Post and second on CBN News, bypassing the mainstream media. Trump's move to reduce abortion comes as the group Live Action releases a new investigation that debunks Planned Parenthood's claim that it provides prenatal services for pregnant women.
We don't offer prenatal care at Planned Parenthood. We specialize in abortions. You know, That's what our ultrasounds are for, to see how far along the patient is.
President Trump today meets with automakers to discuss American manufacturing, one of the sectors of the economy he's working to reinvigorate.
That's what he's fighting for, is that man or woman out there that's doing everything they can right, but can't catch a break.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
Hundreds of people who oppose abortion joined together at the Kansas State House to mark the 1973 Supreme Court decision that legalized abortions across the nation. Activists and local private school students went to the Rally for Life, which was held one day after the 44th anniversary of Roe v. Wade. The rally was also accompanied by worship services and workshops leading up to the annual March for Life on Friday in Washington. In the last few hours before leaving office, President Obama and his administration quietly released $221 million to the Palestinian Authority. GOP members of Congress had tried to block that move, but former Secretary of State John Kerry took the action anyway, right before he left the State Department for the last time Thursday. Aides said the written notification dated January 20th was sent to Congress hours before Donald Trump took the oath of office. Another $6 million in foreign affairs spending was also released, most of it going to climate change and the United Nations. For many people, the most important issue of Trump's presidency will be who he picks for lifetime appointments for the Supreme Court. The new president will soon have to make that choice for a new justice on the High Court to replace one of the historically great justices, Antonin Scalia. Paul Strand brings us the story.
Many people voted for Trump just because of their worry of what damage a more liberal Supreme Court could do in years ahead. Kurt Levy of the Committee for Justice and Freedom Works.
People were particularly sick of liberal judicial activism.
Groups advising the incoming Trump administration on a Supreme Court nominee are offering their opinions about those now on the president-elect's short list. John Malcolm of the Heritage Foundation says federal Judge William Pryor is a favorite among pro-lifers for blasting the High Court on its 1973 ruling legalizing abortion nationwide.
Before he became a judge, he had written an article in which he referred to Roe v. Wade as the worst abomination in the history of constitutional law.
Levy points out Pryor's been blasted in the Senate before.
And some of the Democrats accused him basically of being too Catholic. And we took out ads that said Catholics need not apply.
Malcolm and Levy both have praise for federal Judge Dianne Sykes, and they warn she'll face opposition.
She's a solid conservative, very bright. Both of those alone are enough to make Democrats come after her.
She has a long track record and has certainly written a number of opinions that please conservatives, and so I'm sure that the Democrats would come up with some way to attack her if she's the nominee.
Both judicial experts also pointed out 48-year-old Michigan Justice Joan Larson, who actually clerked for the now-deceased Justice Antonin Scalia.
She was highly admired by all the Scalia clerks.
Larson's also a state court judge, which if you're looking for a little diversity on the court would be nice, since none of the people who are there now came from state courts.
The fact that all of her Scalia clerks, who probably many of them are conservatives, think highly of her, says something about her judicial philosophy.
Then there's the young pro-Second Amendment federal judge Thomas Hardiman, who used to drive a taxi while in law school.
Interesting story. Grew up in a family of very, very modest means. I don't think that his parents went to college. He put himself certainly through law school and possibly through college as well, driving a taxi cab.
Democrats, like their new Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, have sworn stiff opposition to virtually any Trump nominee.
I don't care how qualified you are, just the fact that you're conservative, is reason enough to oppose you. Schumer is high on that list of Democrats who have said that.
I certainly think that he will try to obstruct any nomination.
But since when they were the majority, they used the so-called nuclear option to stop the GOP minority from blocking Obama nominees, Dems are likely to face that themselves now that they're the minority.
Well, the shoe is somewhat on the other foot.
At the end of the day, if they try to filibuster, that Republicans will use the nuclear option.
Democrats are sure to not like any of Trump's picks, and though they've lost much of their power, they're sure to put up a fight against them. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from the Supreme Court.
He's set to become the top law enforcement officer in the United States, despite opposition from some Democrats. Wendy Griffith brings us this look at Donald Trump's nominee for Attorney General, Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions.
Jefferson Beauregard Sessions was born in Selma, Alabama in 1946. Despite humble beginnings, Sessions did well in school, served as U.S. Attorney for Alabama's Southern District, the state's Attorney General, and was elected to the U.S. Senate in 1996, where he's served ever since.
Friends say Sessions' country upbringing instilled values in him like honesty, hard work, belief in God, and parental respect. Values that still define him today.
First of all, he's a consummate gentleman. You'll never find Jeff Sessions say or do anything that's in the slightest bit offensive. He's very courteous.
Longtime friend, Republican Congressman Bradley Byrne, says Alabamans are thrilled that Trump has pegged Sessions for the nation's top lawyer.
They love it. Are you kidding me? The people of Alabama voted very strongly for Mr. Trump. Maybe Mr. Sessions, Senator Sessions, had something to do with that.
Despite his popularity, Sessions' confirmation hearings were plagued by protesters calling him a racist, a charge that's haunted him since 1986, when he was refused a federal judgeship over alleged racist remarks he denied then and now.
I am the same person, perhaps wiser and maybe a little better, I hope so, today than I was then. But I did not harbor the kind of animosities and race-based discrimination ideas that I was accused of. I did not.
Despite these allegations, many black Americans support Sessions.
Do you think Senator Jeff Sessions is a racist?
When I consider Senator Jeff Sessions, I choose to regard his actions, such as desegregating the educational system when he had that under his purview, and also prosecuting the Ku Klux Klan. So if he did prosecute the Ku Klux Klan, to answer you, I would not call Mr. Sessions racist.
A number of black pastors also came to Sessions' defense.
Americans are living in a toxic climate where the serious charge of racism is carelessly leveled against anyone with whom the left disagrees.
Do you think he's going to sail through confirmation hearings, or you think it's going to be a fight?
He will not sail through, but let's believe that he will make it through.
Wendy Griffith, CBN News.
The British Supreme Court has ruled the UK government must hold a vote in Parliament before beginning the process of leaving the European Union, known as Brexit. That could delay Prime Minister Theresa May's plans to trigger negotiations by the end of March. The ruling forces the government to put a bill before Parliament, giving pro-EU politicians a chance to soften the terms of Britain's exit from the EU. Leave campaigners objected, saying Parliament should have the power to overrule the electorate. Coming up, he is one of the loudest opponents of Obamacare, and soon he might help to repeal it. Why President Trump believes Tom Price is the best man to revamp healthcare in America. A top priority for the new Trump administration is repealing Obamacare and replacing it with something better. Lori Johnson has a closer look at the man who the president has chosen to lead that effort.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the gentleman.
Three things helped lead to the nomination of 62-year-old Georgia Congressman Tom Price as HHS Secretary. First, he criticized Obamacare louder and longer than almost anyone on Capitol Hill.
26% of the American people say they've been harmed by this law. 4 out of 10 Americans say that they have a positive view of this bill. That means that this law, that means 6 out of 10 say no. Help us.
Second, he jumped on the Trump train early in the presidential campaign. And the other plus, he's a physician.
Before going into public service, I practiced orthopedic surgery for over 20 years. That first-hand experience taught me that there's nothing more sacred in healthcare
than the doctor-patient relationship.
The HHS secretary oversees a $1 trillion annual budget and makes decisions affecting us all on issues like food safety, vaccines, and developing life-saving drugs. Also programs ensuring 100 million Americans, like Medicaid, Medicare, and Obamacare. Price has pushed to replace Obamacare since it first passed, but his bills failed. Now he might get the chance to implement his ideas through another route. Those include tax credits based on age, not income, ability to purchase private insurance across state lines to drive up competition and lower costs. He favors expansion of health savings accounts to people on government health care plans and plans to protect coverage for people with pre-existing conditions.
We would allow all those individuals to pool together, the millions of individuals across this land who've purchased their coverage through small groups and through the individual market, to pool together into groups of hundreds of thousands or a million or more individuals, so they get the purchasing power of millions. And then what happens then is that it makes it so that no one individual's adverse health status drives up the cost for anybody else.
Price also wants to end government funding to Planned Parenthood, America's largest abortion provider. The president of Planned Parenthood said Price poses a grave threat to women's health and could take women back decades. She isn't the only one opposing Price's nomination. Congressional Democrats suggest he violated ethics rules by investing in healthcare companies' stocks that would benefit from his proposed legislation. Despite that, Price has the backing of Republicans on the Hill, as well as the approval of the American Medical Association and the Association of American Medical Colleges. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Up next, they have lost everything but their lives. Now they're struggling to survive. See how CBN helped to dig a well and provide urgent aid for victims of Islamic terrorism. A Nigerian pilot hunting Boko Haram terrorists accidentally bombed a displaced persons camp in northeastern Nigeria. At least 50 people, including humanitarian workers, were killed. It is just one example that life in Nigerian refugee camps is dangerous and difficult. Many of these victims of Boko Haram lack the basic necessities of life. So CBN is bringing relief to these desperate people. Our Gary Lane is on the story.
While the Nigerian army says it has crushed Boko Haram, thousands of Nigerians remain internally displaced because of the terrorist group. Tens of thousands still live as refugees far from their homes. In 2014, Boko Haram launched almost daily attacks against Christians and others in an attempt to control parts of northern Nigeria and impose its brand of Sharia law on the people. When Boko Haram fighters attacked homes, churches, and businesses in the city of Maiduguri, many residents sought safety in nearby villages. The terrorists followed them to the villages, terrorizing, looting, burning, and murdering the people there. Thousands of Christians were forced to flee to internally displaced camps set up by the UN and the Nigerian government.
So no place to live, no anything. So for them now, camp is the last resort for them.
Teacher Daniel Alagarga is a coordinator in an IDP camp near Maiduguri. He says while the people are receiving help, often the help falls short.
In terms of food, there is a lot of gaps. People are seriously suffering in terms of feeding.
CBN heard about the needs of the people and responded. Our humanitarian and disaster relief team provided families with rice, beans, corn, cooking oil, and salt. The children needed clothing, and many of the kids at Shawari camp would walk 3 miles round trip without shoes, just to collect drinking water and water for cooking meals. So our CBN team provided shoes to protect the children's feet, and a generous CBN donor helped us provide this well, so the people could collect water right in their camp. Camp residents were overjoyed to have fresh, clean drinking water within footsteps of their tents. One woman told us she was thankful to CBN for the new well. God visited us in a big way, she said. Others said they were grateful for the food and clothing and would never forget the love shown to them. And how should people pray for these homeless Nigerian Christians? Daniel Alagarga says pray for peace to be restored to their country.
My greatest desire is to see that these people have returned to their respective community so that they will start living the normal life they used to live before.
Gary Lane, CBN News.
If you'd like to help CBN Disaster Relief bring aid and healing to people all around the world, simply head on over to CBN.com. Stay with us. There's more of CBN NewsWatch straight ahead. It is time now for your Tuesday Tweetable, and here is something to consider. For every dream and goal, there is a process. Fall in love with the process, and the dream will come. Think on that word, share it, and make this a terrific Tuesday. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about always at cbnnews.com. We'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do it by emailing us newswatch@cbn.com. Also connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Have a terrific Tuesday.